Hello, hello. I'm just waiting for Kevin to get in here so I can drag him with me. Hello, my beautiful people. Hello, hello, hello. How is everybody feeling? Okay. I can't see Kevin. Okay, I can see him. I think I got you now. Yay!
Yeah.
How are you feeling?
Oh, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling good. I'm in power. Running a little
Good.
behind schedule, but for very good reason. So come on now.
It's okay. It's okay. We're always on time. Time is an illusion, Kevin.
It is. It is. How you feeling,
I'm
Anna? You in the
excited.
zone?
I'm excited for today. Really excited to talk about this because it's a big topic, isn't it?
Oh
Trust.
yeah. Oh yeah. Big one.
It's not just,
Woo.
yeah, it's not just about our relationships with other people, but our relationship with ourselves.
Yes.
And
Huge.
especially if you do spiritual work, you really, really need to trust yourself because it's a fine line between enlightenment and insanity. And what
Oh my
separates that
goodness.
is trust,
Yes. Yes. So well said.
right? So, yeah, when you start trusting yourself in the work that you do, the messages that you bring, the insights that you have, then you cross the line between feeling insane and feeling enlightened, right? So that's when the
Right.
power starts to come in. So it's going to be
Totally.
an interesting topic. Hello, everyone. Welcome. We're back.
We're
Uh,
back.
yes, we're back for another round, another love punch here for everybody. I hope everybody's feeling well. As always, I'm just going to put the disclaimer out there for the ones that are watching for the first time. If you feel triggered or uncomfortable in any way with the messages that me and Kevin are bringing, I ask you to lovingly disconnect, come back at another time that is more convenient for you, that your heart is open to receive. We're here to speak from the heart, to speak from experience,
Mhm.
to give our own personal insights. It doesn't have to be everybody's truth at all. So if it resonates with you, great. Take it as a lesson or as something that you can look at and analyze your own relationships. And if it doesn't, leave it behind. We won't get offended, right?
Yes, yes. Beautiful. I love how you do
Good.
these disclaimers, Anna. This is a good learning for me with my stuff too. Such
Yeah.
a
I
it's a
mean,
great way to do
it,
it.
yeah, but it is a learning curve for me because I've been through a lot of backlash and a lot of nasty comments and nasty emails and all of that. So I've learned from experience, and I've also learned that if I would get offended with what people think about what I talk about, I wouldn't get any work done. So I always say that if I piss off 10 people, but I help one of them, I'll go to bed with a smile on my face. I've done my work.
Bingo, bingo. If even one
The
person
other
gets a
nine,
little, yeah.
just the one. I aim to save one person per day. That's my aim. And if I do more than that, then I'm thrilled. But
Mm,
that one person a day, I need to save. I don't know
yeah.
who it is. I don't know how it's going to come to me, but they will come to me.
Yes, yes.
It's
I
my
feel
turn.
that.
Okay. So I always put a disclaimer just in case, because I'm the queen of backlash, just putting it out there.
Sure.
Okay, so I was actually writing an article today about was related with trust issues as well. Was about if it's possible to fix a relationship that it's beyond damage, right?
Mm,
And I was explaining that yes, as soon as trust is back on the menu,
right,
and it's not just because I really believe that hurt people.
right, right.
It's only when you come from pain that you have the ability to hurt other people. If you're happy with your life and you trust yourself and you trust your relationships, you don't even have time. to be bothered with those things, right? So trust is really something that needs to come from within, first and foremost.
Yes.
When we don't trust ourselves, then everything in every relationship gets tainted. Starting from our physical appearance, right? We're always falling into the trap of, what if my partner finds someone else attractive? Or, you know, what if they find someone better than me? That all comes from your own trust in yourself, right? From your own personal insecurity.
Right.
Um,
Right.
so, and I find that, like I was saying, it's so important, especially when you do spiritual work, or even when you're going through your own awakening. It demands a lot of trust. I remember my initial days of channeling. I'm like, I have no idea what I'm talking about. I would have to go back and watch the video again. I'm like, I don't remember saying these things, right? Where is it
Oh yeah.
coming from? And you need to separate what comes from your imagination and what comes, you know, from a higher source. And it's the same thing with our relationship, because we're so trapped in the ghost of the past experiences that don't allow us to fully trust someone, right? So it's almost like we have, I gave this example today. We carry pain in our pockets like heavy stones, and they're a reminder of everything that we've been through.
Right.
And we carry those unless we start to get rid of some weight along the way. We're always going to go into our past experience like, I've been here before and I got hurt, or last time I trusted someone, it didn't go well, or, you know. So trust is really associated with trusting in ourselves, but also the ability of letting go of the ghost of the past,
Yes.
taking the
Totally.
experiences for what they were, understand the lesson, use the lesson to transform it into wisdom, to transform it into knowledge, but carry on more gentle and softer than ever. You know,
Right.
our pain is not to make us stronger and harder. It's supposed to make us more flexible and
Yes.
softer,
Beautifully
you know,
said. I
so we
mean,
can bend.
this is
Sorry.
big. Like the like what doesn't kill you makes you stronger idea, I think has actually done a lot of damage because
Absolutely.
the pain, the mistrust, especially in relationships, and this is so near and dear to me and my path because this was, you know, a loss of trust was integral in my awakening, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and I love the metaphor of a coconut or a fruit with a very hard shell. And this
Yeah.
is the same journey with the pain, with the healing, with the wisdom. You're not going to get to the best part of the fruit until you crack that outer layer. And for a lot of us, the first time we lose trust in a big way, the first time we get hurt, the first time that the heartbreak, it's actually it's letting us open. It was a gift.
Yeah.
Now many of us were complicit in it, you know, the way we were showing up at the time allowed this situation. So there's some responsibility too. But to just build more of a shell when this happens, this is going to lead to another more painful cracking open. And you're saying, you
Yeah.
know, the softness, the opening to the lesson, opening to the wisdom. You know, I wish people had told me this when I first
Yeah.
experienced these pains of awakening and these pains in romance. It's like, oh, wow, like I just wasn't prepared to receive a lesson there. So I put up
Yeah.
more defenses, you know, please don't like, please don't hurt me, or I'm not going to trust again. I'm gonna numb. I'm just going to numb. For men, I think a lot of men, they numb out, you know, I can't
Yeah.
trust women.
Yeah. Yeah. You get into that stage of, I know better. I know better now. You know, I know better. So I'll be stronger next time, you know. And then next time you're actually going to be stronger. And it's not going to help you either, because as long as you continue to be stubborn and stronger in that sense, it's going to keep on breaking you down until you actually learn your lesson, right? Um, but the thing is, we carry those experiences with us. We allow those experiences to shape the way we deal with other people. And what happens is we end up bleeding on top of people who didn't cut us.
Right.
Absolutely. And we close ourselves to the opportunity of having a relationship with someone, right? Because we
Right.
just assume that at some point this person is going to lie, or they're going to cheat, or they're going to betray me, right? So that's your assumption when you experience hurt before. And this is a little bit like the concept uh, court, right? You're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty, right? But sometimes we go into our relationships with not enough trust, when all we need to do is really trust ourselves, trust our own judgment, trust our discernment to pick our partners, right?
Yes.
Trust our intuition, but also understand that a relationship that is coming into our lives, or someone who is coming into our lives, is a reflection of something that is happening internally with us.
Right.
Along the journey. So obviously, if we're going through a moment where we don't trust enough the people that we have in our lives, obviously we're going to have to be presented with someone that is going to trigger that in us until we're able to let go of that wound and heal it. Right.
Right.
It's just, I find it so interesting. I have a really good friend of mine has the habit of checking her boyfriend's phone and his email and all that. And I always have to ask, right? But there's a lot of people who do that, you know, and stalk pages on Facebook and Instagram and stuff. And my mom always told me, if you look for it deeper enough, you're going to find it. You're not going to like it, but you can find it, right? You're going to find something that is out of context.
Right.
You're going to make your own assumption of what it is based on your pain. And it's going to be unfair for the other person, right? And I always make fun of her, because I'm like, how can you be with someone that you don't trust? I mean, that's a full-time job right there. Who has time? I don't have time to check my own phone and my social media. Where do you find the time to check your partner's phone, right? And the emails. But it all comes down to you understanding what you bring to the table.
Right.
You know, what you have to offer in a relationship.
This is huge. Like you said, like hurt people. People who don't trust themselves don't trust other people. Like if I don't trust myself to do self-care, to live into my purpose, to serve, to cultivate the gifts, the skills, the love that I have just for me in my little 3-foot world, there's no way I'm going to be able to be with a person and trust that they're doing the same thing, A, and B, trust that they're not going to do it with somebody else. You know, it's like,
exactly.
There's something profound there where like there's trust, like, and this is, I think, where I think codependency and some of the transactional relationships come in.
Yeah.
Like there's a projection here, and sometimes it's unconscious. Sometimes it's just out of pain. Like something is unresolved. And, you know, I think there's deep wisdom, and you will repeat the lesson until you learn it. You'll attract in the same partner. You'll attract the same situation, and you'll always be on guard subtly. Like, all right, I'm getting ready. They're gonna betray me. They're gonna send that text. Show me the text messages. Show me, you know, it's like, I lived like this for a time, and it's just, man, not only do I not have time for it, but it caused so much anxiety, so much sleeplessness, so much just like edge. Like I could never fully, like I think trust and surrender are very entwined. If I can't surrender, it's because I'm not trusting. And if I don't fully trust, I'm not going to actually be able to surrender.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you're not even relaxed in the relationship.
Right.
It's impossible to be relaxed in a relationship where there's no trust. But I think that the most important thing is accepting the things that come to you, and that's where trust comes forward, right? Accepting the things that are presented to you, always for your highest good. Always. Always. No matter how painful they are, they will take you to where you need to go. And sometimes it takes a painful road to get there, right?
Right.
But you were saying something interesting, because you said that it really is trusting yourself, but it's also trusting that you have the ability to heal yourself, and you have the self-awareness to understand how much of those of that anxiety is being brought by your partner or by that person in your life, or how much is actually being reflected from you.
Right. Right.
Your ability to trust makes you think that the other person is not trustworthy.
Yes. Yes. This
A
is
lot of
so
people,
big. Like trustworthy. Are they worthy of trusting? Are they
yeah,
inherently valuable? I mean, there's worth and value here. It comes in, right? Like self-worth. Because like
yeah,
before you can even trust yourself, you have to feel worthy. Like I
yeah.
have to feel like I'm enough already without a partnership, without anything externally, to then be able to be like, oh wow, I fully trust myself. And this, I think for me, and you mentioned it earlier, Anna, the channeling, the intuition, the connection to something bigger than yourself. And it doesn't have to be religious or spiritual, but it can be. You know,
Yeah.
that's a really strong anchor for me that was awakened through the pain of not trusting myself and then
Yeah.
projecting it onto a partner and then not
Mm-hmm.
trusting them. And then this like pain feedback loop starts where I was like,
Yeah.
oh, like why am I a victim? And meanwhile, the synchronicities, the people in my life, the downloads are like, hey, trust yourself. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
like it's just a lot of people, you know, they some people have to go on a journey for that, you know. It's something
Absolutely.
that we weren't necessarily taught how to do.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. But it's so interesting, especially during your awakening, because you really need to trust that the voices that you're listening to are not part of your own imagination, right? You really need to trust them. And then you need to trust that your connection with your guides or source, whatever you connect with, you need to trust, again, that it's for your highest purpose. And I get so many people questioning their own guides and thinking that, you know, I feel like I've been misguided by them. You know, why did I trust them? And I always say, well, it brought you here today, so it's always a lesson. So I really believe that we need to trust in everything that comes to us, always, and understand that if this is being brought to me, it's because I'm gonna get something out of it. I'm going to
Right.
grow. I'm going to evolve. I'm going to trust myself more, right? I'm going to open myself to a new experience, because we're not here for the outcome of anything. We're here to fully experience the journey of getting there. It's because
Right.
we're constantly worried. And that's also where the trust comes from. Because if you would just be present in the moment and enjoy the experience of being with that person, you wouldn't be worried about what they're going to do tomorrow, what they're going to do tonight, what's going to happen in a month. Are we going to be together in a year? Right? So we kind of like step away from fully experiencing the whole thing now, because we're so worried and projecting things onto the future, right? So that makes us come out of a place of trust as well. I always say, trust the energy. Never mind about the words. Never mind about, trust the energy. How does it
Yes.
feel?
And
And
this
if it
is
feels
big.
good,
Like
then
this is the gut. This is the gut. You know, Brad has a really powerful question. I don't see how trusting yourself has anything to do with the other person running around on you. Well, Brad, actually, it has everything to do with it. And here's why. Because you just touched on it, Anna. If you're able,
mm-hmm.
and this is a practice, this is not something that happens overnight after you went to Kundalini Yoga. This is a practice. This is, do I trust my gut instinct? Another way to say it, do I trust the innate intelligence, the first 3 seconds of thoughts, of feeling, of emotion, like you said, energy? You know, they're telling me, oh, baby, I love you so much, and I want this, this, and this in the future. Or, you know, blah, blah, blah. Like, I want to be with you, etc. You know, you put in your own words. What is the energy behind it? Now, I'll paint two pictures. One, you don't have a practice. So you don't actually inherently trust yourself. You don't trust
Yeah,
yourself to do self-care. You don't trust yourself to do what you know you need to do to be turned on, alive, and in service. If you're not doing that, there's no way you're going to be able to recognize when they're out of alignment. So you might buy into the words and the stories, you might buy into the hormones and like, well, I'm really attracted to this person. Meanwhile, someone who's cultivating trust and cultivating that energy of like, ooh, you know, this situation doesn't feel good. I'm not going to go that way. Ooh, this client or this business transaction, it sounds good on paper, but my gut is like, nope, nope. Like, and once you start following that, then you start to build this relationship and you're like, ooh, like this has never steered me wrong. Even though rationally it often won't make sense. And if you can hold this, if you can hold this for yourself, suddenly like your partner, they come to you, they say something like, oh, I was doing this and that, or like, oh, I met so-and-so. Your gut will flare up. You know, it sounds nice, but I'm feeling something off. And then if you're able to communicate, you can go into it. Hey, I want to clear this. You know, I'm feeling this way and I don't know why. Can we communicate about it? There's ways that the deep trust in yourself will start to translate to building a trust between two. It starts with one though.
Yeah, absolutely. And it all comes down to, we always end up talking about communication and honesty, but it's true though, right? If there's something that makes you uncomfortable, then just say it. You know, maybe your partner is doing it not on purpose, not with the purpose of hurting you, completely unaware that it's something that bothers you. And it's just a tiny detail that can be adjusted through communication. You just need to say it. Listen, I don't feel comfortable when, for me, I have big issues with communication because I don't have trust issues in terms of, I don't think that my partner is cheating on me. If they don't reply, I think they died of a horrible accident. That they're like at a hospital because something bad happened, right? So I don't think that they found someone else or that they're doing something wrong. I always think that they hurt themselves or, you know, somehow. That's the only explanation for not replying to a text message from me. They died. Right? There is no in between. They died. They got so excited by text message that they died. So I don't go into that loop of thinking that they're doing something wrong. I really get worried for their health, basically, right? So that's where my mind takes me. And there's an explanation for that. I won't get into it now, but there's an explanation for that. But it's just a matter of open the communication. Again, we always end up touching this subject, but open the communication. If there's something that you don't feel comfortable with, try to understand it first, where it stems from, where does it come from? Is it from your own source of pain and from your own experiences? And how can you express that to your partner in a way that you can meet halfway? You know, listen, when you go out, I worry that if you're going to be safe driving back home, so can you just text me when you get home? It doesn't matter what time it is. So I just know that you're home safe and you're going to go to sleep. Simple.
Right.
Simple. You know,
simple, but how much anxiety does that create? You could just have sent that message, but instead you're like, well, you know, they should just text me or they should know how I feel. Or what if they're running around on me? You know, this is where a mistrust of yourself. And I want to speak to the opposite here because this is really powerful, I think, for someone watching. There's trust in yourself, and then there's misplaced trust. So misplaced trust, for example, would be in your thoughts alone, in the voice in your head. If you're trusting that and like, you know, that little voice that's like the little devil on your shoulder, like she's cheating on you or she's out with that one guy. And like, you're like, oh, like if you trust that voice, then, you know, that's not what we're talking about here. This is beyond thoughts. This is not the little voice that, you know, it's a loving voice. It's trying to protect you. It just doesn't always have your best interest at heart because it's playing in a different game. It's playing a linear game. We're talking about something deeper that comes from presence. It comes from a practice, many ways to accomplish that. It comes from making decisions based on something besides the voice in your head. And the only way to build that trust, in my experience, is to have repetition. Once I start to trust it, suddenly, although it's like, my brain's like, alert, alert, this doesn't make sense. How will you be safe? How will you make money? How is this love? But it's like, it's the gut, it's the energy, I gotta go with it. And then you go with it, miracles happen. healing happens.
absolutely. You step out of that. Yeah, you step out of that nagging voice, right? But it's what you said. It's those initial 3 seconds that you hear the voice without the logic in it, right? Then that's when your mind steps into and tries to make
Right.
sense of that initial thought, right? And your intuition whispers really, really quietly, and your fear screams, right? So
Oh
it's
yeah.
easier to hear your mind screaming than your intuition just saying, it's okay, just trust, right? It's a very quiet and calm and reassuring voice.
Yes.
And then your mind just steps in, and it's really loud. Your mind can chit chat really, really loud, right? So it's easier to listen to that. So yeah, it's those 3 initial seconds where your logic didn't come into the equation yet. It's just a feeling, right? It's just a pure feeling.
Right.
It's your inner being giving you some guidance, giving you a nudge. And I always say that your intuition will never justify its decisions. It will give you a yes that feels good. You know, it feels like a glow in your chest. You feel that the love is amplified by that decision, or it feels bad. It's a no, and you feel it in your gut feeling like no. But your
Right.
intuition is not going to justify your decisions. Your mind will. Your intuition just says yes or no. And your mind says yes because you're going to make a lot more money,
Right.
or no because you're going to get hurt, right? So
Right.
your mind will try to justify its decisions. Your intuition just says, yeah, go for it, girl, or nah, don't get in there, right? So
Yeah.
it's very
Yeah.
simple. If you have a feeling that you should do something or shouldn't do something based on a logic behind it, if there's a justification for doing it or not, then it's not your intuition, because they're not gonna, your inner being is
Right.
not gonna give you the full map. It's gonna say, yeah, go for it, right? This was something that I struggled in the beginning as well, because I used to ask, you know, we all have that stage of asking questions to our guides, our intuition, and, you know, oh, can I do this? Can I do that? You know, we ask it like that. And that got me into a lot of trouble, a lot of fun, but a lot of trouble. And then I had to start asking it differently. I had to ask, should I do this?
Mm.
What can I?
Right.
Because I can anything,
Right.
really. You can anything that you decide to do, but should you do it?
Is
Right?
it in my highest? Is it in my highest
Exactly.
to go through with this? Whether it's a
Yeah.
relationship, whether it's a business decision, whether it's a safety decision. I think some people like for their body, right, or who they're spending time with. I had to learn the hard
Mm-hmm.
way with the people I was surrounding myself with. It was like, oh, it's the boys, you know, like we'll just hang out, do what we always do. And my gut was like, nope, no, this is gonna keep you trapped. And I was like, but they love me. It's like it can be hard when it's
Yeah.
so against your patterns and like I think of it like inertia, right? There's a lot of inertia in thought, like, oh, this is the way you've
Yeah.
always done it. Don't be stupid. Like this is what you've always done. These are your oldest friends. This is the longest relationship you've been in. You got to keep the course.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, your intuition, your inner being's like, no, it's done. And it's like,
Yeah.
but, and then, you know, that's where that you have a choice there. You have a choice.
Yeah.
And if someone watching this is like, how do I trust myself? You know, let alone reading my partner's text messages. How do I trust myself? It's like, you got to make a decision. This is a beautiful
Yeah.
choice you get to make. What are you going to listen to? Are you going to listen to the rationalization and endless logic? You know, and that's not to say logic doesn't have a place. This is how I look at it. Like intuition, my instinct is master. My logic is the servant. My logic can
Yeah.
beautifully implement the wisdom and the knowledge, but if it's the other way around, you're gonna hit a wall at some point
Yeah.
where the logic
Yeah.
is gonna say do this, and then at some point you're gonna be like, why do I feel so awful inside? And your intuition just keeps whispering. It's like, hey, still here.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you're disconnected. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. But it is, you know, it's follow your heart, but take your brain with you as well. You know, use your emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
Use your intelligence to power your emotions to take you to the right place, right? There was someone here asking something really really interesting. She was asking how to trust someone when you've been hurt over and over and over again. by people in your past, right? So you get hurt many, many, many times, and then you have troubles in trusting the next person. I always say that it has to do with your internal process of healing. So if you expect to be hurt, again, you're still staying in that energy of expecting that to happen, right? So I would say that if you're in that energy, you're not ready for a relationship yet.
Right.
And all the ones that you will get are going to be a reflection of what you're feeling internally.
They're going to
right?
repeat this lesson. It's going to repeat.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's also very diminishing to put everyone in the same bag, right? To someone new comes into your life and you're going to put them immediately inside the same bag of your ex who cheated on you, right? So this is my measuring cup, and you fit in there until you get out of it, right? So until you get out of it, I'm going to be controlling, nagging, stalkerish, and I'm going to do everything to make sure that you earn my trust, rather than I'll give you my trust until you prove me that you're not worthy of having it.
Right. This is the transaction model, right? I'll give you my trust if you fit my requirements, because you're not like my ex. I need someone not like my ex. It's like, it can work. It'll work for a little while until it doesn't. Until it's going to reach that point of this is where the transaction comes in. And that's why, like, the deepest layer of trust is with yourself. And then once you're really strong in that, then you can extend it out to one person. Then you can extend it out to multiple people, right? I'm talking about like a community, like your tribe. Like, oh, I can trust these people because I've built it up to where I have something to share. If it's really empty and low, and like I've been hurt so many times, like trust has been broken in all my relationships. Well, you just said it, Anna. You're not ready for a relationship.
No.
Don't rush back into one.
Yeah, because the same thing is going to happen again. So you really need to go within, heal, trust yourself again. Open yourself up for a relationship, because that's half-assing a relationship, right? When you get into a relationship not trusting the person, you're not fully there. You're being guarded. You're not allowing the other person to fully show themselves, but you're also not fully showing yourself. So it's a useless exercise. So I always recommend just go within, heal, have a break, take a break, be single for a while if you have to, but come into a space where you can fully trust your partner, so you don't have to question yourself. Because if you do have to question yourself, then maybe you need to take a break and be alone for a while, because it's not fair that other people pay for the lessons that you didn't learn.
Right.
And that's what happens many times, We make other people pay for the lessons that we didn't learn ourselves.
That's it. Like, can you like let go of needing the other person to reflect the projections and the pain body back to you so you get it? It's not fair to them either. It's not fair to them that comes into the relationship. And it's out of love. Like, if you want to go to the level of your guides, your intuition, why you're with who you're with, it's another chance. It's like, hey, get the message this time. The whisper's there. Hey, this is going to happen. It's going to hurt. So you can finally stop putting that energy out and bring it back inside and be like, oh, okay, maybe I need to take a vacation. Maybe I need to invest in myself. Maybe I need to go and be in nature and close the loop. This is a big thing I've been noticing this year, is the ending of these loops, these healing loops, the projection loops, the trauma loops. We get to move past them. Quantum leaps are available if you're willing to take full responsibility. And like you said it, Anna, if the trust has been lost many, many times, you have to close, like, tourniquet that. You have to stop the cycle and go through the whole process. And you can still get support, but you're not going to do it in a relationship.
No, you have to do it yourself first. You do it yourself first. And but it also comes from you understanding that, again, this has to do with the energy that you bring into a relationship. You know, when you're fully ready for a relationship, you have practiced detachment, you understand personal freedom, personal space, you understand that the other person is going to have their own individual journey towards their identity, which is complete, has nothing to do with who they are with you, has to do with their own identity, their own individuality, right? And you need to accept that, and I was explaining this to someone the other day, one of my clients, because she's struggling with it. And I said, the time that your partner spends alone or with his friends or in other activities is as important as the time that he spends with you. So if you take away that time that he has for himself to build his own individuality, you are stealing a little bit of his personality. So he's going to feel the need to pull back to have time for himself.
Right.
Right. And because every time he started to pull away because he felt suffocated, she would just pull him back in, you know, without a line, without understanding that, okay, he's pulling back because he needs time for himself. So I need to trust. I'm going to trust him enough. Right. I'm going to give him enough time and space. And I know that the time that he spends with his friends and with his own activities are just going to add value to who he is. And every time he comes back, he has more value to add to the relationship.
Right. That's huge. That's so huge.
Yeah.
I wished I understood this from the male perspective, from the masculine side, that I needed to do this, right? And this is something I work with men now. It's like, this is where the cave comes in, whether it's your solo cave, like you need to create, you need to do your business, you need to be a leader of your own life, and you need to be with the tribe or the community, doing the activities, the fitness, whatever it is, to fully charge up. And there's a layer of like, if she can't trust that you're going to do that for yourself, there's going to be trouble. And on the other side, if she can't trust that you're always going to come back filled up, then there's going to be that like tug of war, you know? And I think from the feminine perspective, and maybe you can speak more to this, Anna, you know, this is where, again, communication, like, can you as the feminine be like, hey, like when you do this, I know you're filling yourself up. I'm trusting you. And like, it's a little scary because this, or I sometimes lose trust when this happens. And that's going to help him understand, oh, I need to be more in connection, even when I'm pulling away, and just make it clear. And this is where those agreements and those exchanges can happen. So she can she can relax. She can trust why this is happening.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know what? I'm going to make it very, very simple. For us women, and I think I speak for many, many women when I say this, what you need is consistency. Just that. If you're able to say or to show to a woman, I'm still here, I'm not going anywhere, that builds a trust bond that it's unbreakable, right? Then you know it's okay. He can go away for 2 days. He can be without calling me 2 days. I know where he is. I know he's having fun. I know he's working on himself, right? But you have that consistency. Now, what happens sometimes is that a woman becomes needy and codependent and a little bit naggy, you know, and borderline stalkerish. And then what happens is the men avoid being honest because they think that they're going to hurt them, or because they're going to open up a can of worms, right? So, oh, I'm just going to say that, oh, went out with my friends, right? So that's when the lack of, I don't want to say the lies, but the lack of honesty starts. And that's when the mistrust starts, right? So again, all comes down to honesty and open communication. Just that, you know, and just having the trust in your partner that if they're with me, it's because they love me. Simple as that. That's how I enter my relationships, all of them. I'm not jealous at all. I never had jealousy issues or trust issues in that sense. Because when I enter a relationship, I always have the trust that if they're with me, it's because they love me.
Right.
Period. I don't even question it. I know that my partners are going to look at other women. It's fine, you know, and find them attractive and find them beautiful and find them interesting. that has nothing to do with the relationship that he has with me.
Right. Right.
Right?
That's
That
mega
doesn't
right there.
diminish. That doesn't diminish the feelings that he has for me. It means that he's a man, he's alive, he's living his life and having fun. That's it. Right? I know
Yeah.
that he's not going to cross that line. I trust him. I know the connection that I have with him.
Yes,
Right?
yes. And this is
So,
beyond like agreement level trust too and
yeah.
transactional. It's the deep trust of we've entered a container, and I'm not sure who said it, but what's coming up as you're speaking is like the woman is trusting and resting into the love. Like he loves me,
Mhm.
he's chosen me, and yeah, he's still a man. There's still biological things happening. Obviously, he's going to be attracted to other women, but the trust is like, oh, I can rest into his love. And then on the other
Mhm.
side, for the man, it's like, we feel, and I think a lot of men will feel this as well when I say it, we feel really strong and like empowered when we feel the trust from the woman. If we're loving and being fully present and she trusts us, she's like, hey, babe, I know you're going to go out with the guys or you're going to go into the wilderness, you're going to go and do sadhana, whatever it is,
Yeah.
I trust you and I'll see you on the other, like I'm
Yeah.
excited for you. And like, it's just like,
Yeah.
oh, that feeling of being trusted as a man is everything.
Yeah.
But it only it
It's
only
a
comes from
voucher.
that deepness,
Yeah. But it's a voucher, isn't it? It's a
right?
voucher of trust right there. And it's a voucher of love as well. That's one sort that's one way of expressing your love is trusting someone, right? Trusting them enough to make their own decisions, even if you don't agree with them, right? Trusting that they're going to make the right choices for themselves, even if we would do it differently, right? But it starts with that. It starts with that trust. But it also is, I had someone, it's very interesting. I had someone the other day also, again, way too much stalking Facebook these days. But there was someone who was telling me, I asked him if he wanted to hang out, and he said he couldn't because he was busy. But then I saw on Facebook that he was out with friends, and I said, then he didn't lie. He told you the truth. He was busy with friends. He
Right,
didn't lie.
right.
So what is the situation here? You said you want to hang out. You weren't very clear about what you wanted to do. Let's be honest here. Okay. Hang out. But he told you, I can't, I'm busy. He was busy. He was with other people doing other things. So why do you think that it's more important to cancel his plans to be with you? Would that be a proof of love to you? If he would break his own integrity and break his own
Mm,
commitments to be with you, would that show you more love than him honoring his own commitment and practicing self-love?
right, right.
Because
Huge.
you don't want a man that loves you more than they love themselves. You don't want that.
Bingo, bingo. And that's where like you don't want a man or a woman that
Yeah,
trusts you more than they trust themselves.
absolutely.
That's that's a
Absolutely.
that's a subtle like self-sabotage. And I think there's people watching this an hour later that have been in those relationships.
Hmm.
Well, if I just had a man that was this trusting, or if I just had a girl that really could trust me, then I wouldn't have
Hmm.
to trust myself because they can hold that
Hmm.
for me. And this is like a very subtle kind of like codependency and self-sabotage that ooh, yeah. This is like relationship kung fu. I love what you're saying, Anna. Like from the male perspective, you don't want a woman who needs your trust more than she can trust herself and her sisterhood, her circles, her love and passion for what she does in the world. If she has to
Yeah,
be like, oh, I feel so trusted by my man and like, I know he's not going to cheat, he's loyal and like all that. And then that gets her to the state where she's like, oh, I trust myself. It might feel good in the old paradigm, but this is, and I've been there, so I can speak from
yeah,
experience. This is setting you up for, well, a lot of pain at some point, and it's going
yeah,
to come sooner or later.
yeah, absolutely. But it's just a matter of, understanding that both of you are going to have to work on yourselves individually, separately. And going out with friends, going to other places, spending time apart, it's so important. I was talking about this with my partner yesterday. I told him, I love you, but I really love my time alone. And he said, me too. So it's the same. It's so important that you have your time alone, to do your things, to recharge your batteries, to fill up your cup with the things that you like doing. Because the more you do that, the more you have things to bring to the relationship. It's not just about the two of you, so self-focused that, that's it. It's just about the relationship. Obviously, it's the same thing that when you spend the whole day together with your partner, you're going to get to the end of the day and you have the same experiences to share. That's it, right? You went to the same places, you saw the same things, even if you have a different perspective of what you saw. But you're going to talk about the things that you saw together, right? Which is beautiful.
Right.
Nothing wrong with that. But then if you do spend the day apart, each one of you with your friends or going out, doing different things, when you come together at the end of the day and you sit down, there's so much stuff to be added to the relationship, right? To share, I saw this and stuff like this, I met this person, there's a lot more things to add to the relationship. So, and that's not just a matter of trusting, but it's a matter of wanting the other person to experience fully everything every day and not condition them through your own fear of losing them, because lack of trust comes from the fear of losing something.
Right.
And we can't
operating
be in a
from fear.
relationship.
Operating from the fear. If it's based in fear, like trust created out of fear, like I like to look at all like mental, emotional stuff. Like if you start a foundation and an origin point, no matter how much you build it and how much you like put energy in and you do everything right, if it was originated in fear, it's like building something on sand. It's not going to last. And what you're saying too is really potent. Like this is one of the boons of trust, one of the benefits. If you've built strong trust that's based on love and self-love, not based on transactions in the relationship, but built on, I love myself so much. I fully trust my intuition and instincts. I'm going to extend that into a partnership with someone doing the same. Suddenly, all this beautiful growth becomes possible. She can go out with her friends and go on a whole adventure. You can go on a trip and go into what you love the most. And then it creates this trust field where together you have this garden where you get to share new experiences and share these new perspectives, like you're saying, that actually makes the sum greater than the two parts. But that's only possible if the foundation was actually built on that deep trust in love of I'm enough, I'm worthy of love, I trust myself to make the decisions even when it's difficult and irrational, versus I'm going to build all this trust because I can't lose you, or I'll be thinking about your phone, like what's in the text messages, it's like it's never going to work.
But it's fear. It comes from fear. It comes from fear, and it's a wrong foundation to start a relationship if you're afraid of losing them, if you're constantly making them feel trapped or chained to you because you're so afraid of losing them, right? There's a right dose of fear of losing someone, because it makes you work on it every day, right? Because it makes you acknowledge, I have a great person with me. I want to make sure I work on this relationship and I work on the relationship that I have with myself so that we can connect on a deeper level every day. The more I work on myself, the more I allow my partner to work on himself, the more we connect when we're together, right? The time we take apart to work on ourselves is just going to be more empowerment to bring into the relationship, right? I always say, two powerhouses before you're a power couple, right?
Right.
So you need to allow that space. And there's a limit, there's a healthy limit of being afraid of losing someone, right? It makes you understand that you're with someone who is precious, someone who is special, someone who is unique, someone that you really, really connected, right? But anything beyond that, that doesn't allow you to trust them, then it crosses the line of being healthy, right? and I do understand how it can be hard to trust someone, you know, when you've been hurt many, many times. But again, you
Yes.
can't use the same measuring cup for everyone. You cannot even use the same measuring cup for the same person. We're not the
Right.
same that we were, you know, a month ago, half a year ago. I'm not the same that I was yesterday even, you know, and I'm
Right.
glad for
Right.
it.
It's
So,
updating. It's like changing your level of capacity for love, capacity for trust is in fluctuation. And, you know, in my experience, the more I can align with that and really dial in, okay, today I'm feeling less trustworthy for whatever reason, not judging it. And knowing that, it's like, oh, okay, today I'm going to have to pour into my cup more.
yeah,
And knowing that and practicing that instead of showing up in a relationship like I'm needy or I need you to validate or love me this way
yeah,
because I'm a little off. And I see
yeah,
couples do this all the time where one or the other is, there's always one that is more trusting usually until
yeah,
you have the powerhouses, right? But there's always one
yeah,
that's a little more trusting or a little more in tune with their own cup and filling it. Um,
yeah,
and so they can end up being the leader if they're willing to, from that space, create that field. And,
yeah,
you know, as soon as you realize that, yeah, I'm a different person than last month, this relationship is way different than it was last month, you can start to
yeah,
navigate it with some humility and curiosity and continue the trust process, knowing that, oh, we got to the trust. We're a power couple. We're good now. It's like,
yeah, yeah.
it's going to
That's
update
it.
constantly, constantly.
Yeah, yeah. But it's interesting what you were saying, because I was just having a conversation with someone before we went live, and she was saying lately I feel like I am giving more than I'm receiving in this relationship. And I told her that's just an indicator that you need to give more to yourself. You can't expect that the other person is going to fill your cup. So if it's feeling empty because you're giving more than you're receiving, then you know you need to take some time to refill it yourself, right? With doing things that make you happy, that bring you joy, that make you excited, that you're passionate about, you know, that you stay on your purpose, stay on your mission, and fill up your cup. Take a break, take some time, you know. But it's almost like we're so conditioned to imagine a traditional relationship where communication needs to happen every day in this way, and you know, that
Right,
things need to happen in a certain way, that it creates expectations. And when things don't happen in that fashion, you almost feel like this relationship is going the wrong direction,
right,
right?
right.
And one of those measuring cups that I always try to explain is sex. We use sex as a measuring cup. It's so wrong, right? And
Mm,
it's almost like you say, well, you know, everything is well, we communicate really well, we're really connected, everything is going perfect, but we don't have a lot of sex. So that's the
mm,
measuring cup for the relationship not working out, right?
right,
And then you have on the other side of the spectrum, you have people who say like, oh, we haven't really been spending a lot of time together. We haven't really connected lately, but at least we're still having sex, so it means that
right,
we're okay, right? So
right,
that's a measuring cup for relationships. You know, if you're not having enough sex, then the relationship is not going so well. But if the relationship is actually not going so well, but you still have sex, then it means that you're still connected in a way, right? At least physically
right.
you're there, right?
Yeah,
So we
right. Which
use
is a
this,
bad measuring cup usually.
right? It's awful. It's awful. But it's all mind programming, because we have this idea of a fairy tale, you know, how things should go, and how it should be so romantic, and how it should, when you can actually in the most simple gesture can find romance there, you know. It doesn't, people don't need to, your partner doesn't need to take you to a fancy restaurant to be, I actually went through that and I didn't find it romantic at all, you know, the clinking of the silverware, and you know, the
Right,
lack of
right,
intimacy, and having the waiters there, rather than cooking you a meal at home and it's just the two of you and it's intimate, right?
right.
So really need to evaluate what our beliefs in terms of relationships, you know.
And
What,
our boundaries too, our
yeah,
boundaries, like
yeah,
getting clear. Like this comes up in every talk of relationships, but like for me, its utility is infinite because
mhm,
boundaries, agreements, and these practices that fill your cup, if they're all in place, then you're not going to wonder why something's happening. Like you said, like I feel like I'm giving more than I receive. It's like, well,
mhm,
your cup's not full. Like
yeah,
stop pouring it out and fill it up. And then you don't
yeah,
have to wonder, why do I feel like I'm just being like giving too much? It can be that simple, but only if you're crystal clear. If you're crystal
yeah,
clear on what your boundaries are, what constitutes, like as you were saying, what constitutes a healthy, intimate, connected, forward moving relationship? Is it spending a lot of intimate, personal, one on one communication together? Maybe not. Is it going on adventures together, or going on these experiences? Is it
yeah,
having a lot of sex? Is it, you know, creating a boundary zone where it's like, hey, I'm going to spend 2 days away and do this, and you're going to spend 2 days away doing what you love, and then we're going to, you know, like these are
yeah,
like pathways to navigate, and they build
absolutely,
trust, because if you can do this, then the trust gets so built up over time, because you're like, oh wow, I can trust her to fully serve herself and fill up her
yeah,
cup. She's not trying to pull for me. Or I can trust him to stay in his purpose and stay really driven and
yeah,
like very giving. And then when he comes to me, he's not elsewhere. You know, his mind's not elsewhere.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But it's you know, it's just allowing the trust to flow between the two of you, because if you're not giving trust to the other person, you're not receiving as well. You're completely blocking. You're blocking it. You're not giving and you're not receiving at all. So it's just allowing everything to flow between the two of you. And again, if there's anything in your relationship that you're not being able to trust, then two things. One of them, checking if it stems from you, if you are the root of that
Mm.
projection, or if it is indeed the your partner that is not showing you signs of trusting, because there's that as well, right, Kevin? There's really people that don't deserve our trust.
Right.
Let's be honest here.
And it's worth
And
identifying them quickly. And this is where the self
mhm,
trust comes in. The only way to do that quickly is to have a crystal clear emotional guidance system, intuition, that knows immediately, addresses it. And if the person's unwilling to change or even own it, then you know, like this, if you, like, this is so important in relationships. And something I've learned the hard way is I have to trust somebody at my level of trust. I can't trust somebody that's
yeah.
below my level and just hope that, well, I can fix them. You know, for men, I think a lot of men, I'll just be able to
Oh
fix her.
yeah,
I'll fix her, you know?
yeah.
It's like, no, no, this is not how this works. And for women, I think women, you know, they might trust themselves really well. And then they're like, well, I'm really attracted to this man, but he's showing you maybe that he's not trustworthy, you
Yeah.
know?
But for
Fool me
us, we
once.
say, I'll change him.
Right, right. It's this other side of the fixing, right? Like, you know,
Yeah, we
and
say,
if they're
I'll
giving
change him.
signals,
I'll change.
yeah, if they're giving signals to that, like you gotta listen to that voice. You gotta step into that.
Yeah,
It's huge,
yeah.
huge.
Let me just see what Linda was saying here. Most beautiful sex experience that felt like combined union while we were intimate, full 100% in the now. Oops. When we were together, the moment he stepped out the door, it was like I didn't exist. Yeah, it was two different
Mm,
sides. One of the connection, one connection at all. And that was so confusing. Yeah,
wow.
but can you, I would love to have your masculine perspective on this.
Yeah.
Because I do see a lot of this behavior with men, or at least with, you know, what my clients share with me during my sessions. But I do see a lot of men that are really connected and are really deep into the relationship when they have intimate moments where it's just the two of them. But then they have a hard time almost taking the relationship out the door. You know what I mean? Making it official.
Right.
You know, being open about it with family, with friends, being in public, taking them out, right? So they
Oh
really
yeah.
feel a really strong connection when it's just the two of them and they have an intimate moment, but then they don't have the ability to make that commitment public, take it outside. What's
Oh
your
yeah.
view on that? I
Oh
get
yeah,
a lot of them.
this goes deep. This goes deep, and I've lived this myself and learned some harsh lessons. And in being a student of psychology, and especially evolutionary psychology, and like some of the mating dynamics, you know, as spirituals we want to get, we're still evolved from primates, and I do believe that there's a lot of wisdom in understanding both sides. Like, and
Mhm.
this is kind of the take, and some people may not want to hear this, but status and hierarchy for men is lifeblood, especially in our current paradigm. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just telling you what there's a lot of evidence for. And if you really tune in, especially if you're a man, become aware of this because it's going to help you understand a lot of your motivations. And I know this from being in relationships. Yeah, one-on-one, unstoppable. So much romance, so much intimacy. As soon as I'm with the boys, as soon as I'm out in public and I'm this person that have a reputation, you can bypass. And
Okay.
this is a big process that a man who's committed to authenticity, being open, in speaking his truth to her, you have to address this early on, ideally, about, hey, when we're together, you know, we're supercharged, we're super powerful. We're going to have to also understand being with your friends, being with my friends, being in public, and stay in communication, stay in connection. So if she's like, all of a sudden, like when we walk out the door, you know, he doesn't pay any attention to me. It's like, well, you need to let him know that quickly.
Yeah.
And this is where I failed. I've had women that didn't tell me that, and then later would just like nag, and I'm like, what? Like I thought you were having a good time. And then on the other
Yeah.
side, I've been at fault where they told me like, hey, like I feel like I'm invisible when you're around this group. It's like, well, babe, you know, I'm serving in this way, and then like later on, it's like, oh, she's right. Like for whatever reason, and there's everyone has their own unique reason. As men, sometimes we do this where we're in purpose, service, performance, but it gets a little disconnected. And so I like the only thing I found is, you know, checking in, checking in, checking in. Even if you assume, oh, she gets it, right? I explained this to her.
Yeah.
Check in, because
Don't
she's probably
assume.
changed.
Yeah. Never assume. Never, ever. Right? In a relationship, never
Yeah,
assume. Your assumptions are just yours. Doesn't have to do with the other person. So what you're saying is there's got to be a moment where the woman needs to say something about it, right? But because that's a major reason for women not trusting men.
right,
You know, and the thing is, there's a guy who's going to pay for all the guys who did it wrong. There's always going to be that poor sod in our
right,
lives. Right?
right.
The one where like, I'm going to clean the blood from the knife on your jeans. So but eventually we need to say something, right? And I've been seeing this happening with a lot of women lately, actually, you know, where there's a very private relationship that it's kept in secret, and then the guy is not able to be public about it or be committed about it, right? With their families, with their friends, with their kids, whatever it
Yeah.
is. Does it mean, I mean, I know it's a very vague and general question, but does it mean that there's not enough connection to do it? Or does it mean that it's just a matter of the person having commitment issues or not being ready to make it public?
Yeah, this is going to be unique to each person, but those are kind of the extremes and the layers. And as I was speaking to status, right? For a lot of men, their status is linked to career and money for many reasons.
Okay.
And a lot of women are attracted to that. And so it's we're
Hmm.
both playing here. It's like there's a line of causation here. In my experience and what I've seen with a lot of men is, and myself, you know, sometimes the reputation comes online and it's like, you know, in secret, this is the best relationship ever. But suddenly at a reputation level with all his colleagues and other men that respect and look up to him or work with him, and or the family, for me, the family was a big one.
Yeah.
Is he willing to hold the tension to claim and own? I'm in relationship, it's amazing, and here it is. It's like, uh-oh, there's a lot of tension that's going to come up. The friends groups might be like, what are you talking about? Like, what about this? Or the family might be like, I don't approve. How dare you have this kind of relationship? And it's like, this is the masculine presence and consciousness. Are you willing to hold the tension? Can you hold that level of discomfort and stay consistent?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of men bypass that, you know. I know in the past I bypassed that, and I work with men who, and this comes back full circle into filling your cup. Because on a subtle level, if you need validation from the other men, the boys, two things could be happening. One, you're not filling yourself up. So you don't trust yourself enough to stand in your truth and your love commitment. Or these are the wrong people in your life.
Yeah.
Why are you letting them sway you if in intimate moments this is how you are, and suddenly in public you shift? And so this is a big call for a lot of men. If you're watching this, or women, you know, get your men to watch this. You know, integration. Can you integrate these parts of yourself and stand firm and accept the discomfort? Your ability to tolerate discomfort and tolerate that, ooh, especially in the gut and the balls and the belly, like that like, oh, fuck, you know, they're going to see me this way. You can still be a pillar and still stay loving, still stay in service, still stay open in your communication with her and all of them. Man, that's a pathway to kingship right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's not easy.
We love that, Gavin. We love that. You know, obviously we need to listen. It's obvious that your partner is not going to be the same with just you or when he's with the guys. There's always going to be, you know, a difference between those. I don't want to call it two versions of the same person, but it's, you know, it's the energy. It's different, right? They feel more loving and more playful when they're with you, and they're going to be a little bit different when they're with the guys. You know, that's it. But when a guy goes into that mode of, it's okay just behind closed doors, but you know, I'm not going to take this anywhere outside of this house. For me, there's always two things. One, obviously there's more than that. There's commitment issues and all of that good stuff. But for us women, it makes us feel like we're not good enough to be shown in public, right? Or that we're not good enough to fit in the family or fit somewhere, right? But what many women don't see is that quite the opposite happens many times, which is they don't feel good enough for the woman that they have. And they don't want to bring her into their own environment because they don't believe that they will fit.
Right.
But it's just that, you know, I always explain this as the bank card analogy, which is when you go pay something at the store, and you go in the pin machine. I don't know how you call it. Pin machine is probably Dutch.
ATM machine. Yeah.
You go on exactly, and you use the card, and it doesn't work. If the card doesn't work, you're not going to think that the machine is broken. You're going to think that there's something wrong with your money or with your bank account. Right. You're not going to think, oh, the machine is not working. My card is good. My bank account is good. I have money there. No, the immediate thought that you get is like, maybe I don't have their money, or maybe the card, there's something wrong with my bank account, right? And it's the same thing when something happens. When something happens to you, you're not going to think that, oh, there's something wrong with that person. No, you immediately think there's something wrong with me. There's got to be something wrong with me, right? If this person is rejecting me or not making me a priority or not admitting our relationship openly, then there's got to be something wrong with me. And not understanding that sometimes it's quite the opposite. They don't feel secure enough within themselves and their group of friends and their family to bring a partner in.
Right. Huge. It's huge. And this is, we're going to full circle again here. It's like worthiness and trust with that bank card. Like, yeah, something might come up. Maybe there is something about it where it's like, what am I doing? How am I showing up? How can I take radical ownership and responsibility for how I'm showing up in the relationship that he's not comfortable showing me, or she's not comfortable letting me meet the family, you know?
Yeah.
There's real reasons, and both are at play. Now that the exception, of course, is if you are fully sourced in self-love and power, you so trust yourself, you've been in integrity the whole time, and then he's still doing it or she's still being different around the friends. Now you have to start being really honest with yourself. Is it the friend group? Is there something off? Is there some kind of energy that needs to be addressed, which
Yeah.
you know I've encountered? Or is it that they can't hold who they really are in public, but they show apart only in private? And
Yeah.
this is something you can't fix. You can't do it for them. You can encourage them, you can hold space, you can draw attention to it, awareness, but you got to stay with a full cup, and you got to invite them to do the same. But you can't go in and try to do it. And, you know, this is one of those moments where you're going to find out really quickly who your lover is.
Yeah.
Really quickly.
Well, all about immediate answers here, right? Just tell them an awful secret. If they run away, they're not for you. We're like, get your answer today.
This is the accelerated path. This is the accelerated path right here.
Absolutely. But you know what? I make fun of it, but I always say, I know what I bring to the table, so I'm not afraid of eating alone. You know, I bring my own food, so I'm not afraid of eating alone. And that's a little bit how you need to, not to the extreme, but how you go into a relationship. I know what I bring to the table. I know my worth. I know my value. I know I'm loving, I'm fun, I'm nurturing. I know all my qualities, all my virtues. I know I have a lot to add to the experience of this person, right? I know that this relationship will add value to both my life and his, individually and a lot together, right? So you need to know what you bring to the table before you get into a relationship. This is what I bring to the table, and trust needs to be one of them.
Yep.
Right.
That's the foundation. If it's built on trust of yourself and your gifts, how you show up, you can be certain for you that you've come from a good place and you took care of, you know, what you're bringing to the table. And you're going to do two things. You're either going to, the person you're with is going to, you're going to have this friction until it gets integrous, or you're going to hold a boundary and attract in the person that can meet you at the table like that. And so no matter what, you win. No matter what, you're gonna develop. It's just how do you want to learn from pain and the mistrust, or do you want to learn from the bliss of knowing who you are and showing up fully?
Absolutely. Absolutely. But it is really, you know, I don't know who I was talking the other day, but I was explaining that I always see our own vibration like a carousel, right? Imagine when you're spinning really slow and, you know, you're kind of stagnant, there's not a lot of momentum going in your life. Everybody jumps in for a free ride, right? You get all sorts of people there. And as soon as you start spinning a little bit faster, only a few come in, and they need to be spinning at the same speed as you, right? They need to keep up with you, right? So that's what you need to do in your life in general, in all your relationships. You keep spinning on your own speed. Anybody who comes in, they're spinning at the same speed as you, and you can trust them as much as you trust yourself in the process. You can trust them as much as you trust yourself, and you can speed up anytime. If they're still there, they're still with you and they're not going anywhere. It doesn't matter how fast it's been, you know, they're going to stay with you. They're going to stay with you. They're going to keep up with your own tempo. And both of you create that momentum of self-growth and self-evolution. You grow together.
Yes.
So check your energy to understand what is the energy that the other person is bringing into your life, because they will be a reflection of your internal process of healing. So if you're not fully healed and you're not trusting yourself and you still feel insecure and have a little bit of doubt, a little bit of confusion, you're going to attract people who are going to present the right type of contrast. So you let go of all that junk. And as soon as you start spinning faster, you know, spin as fast as me and jump in.
Yeah.
Unless you're at my own tempo, you know, I'm here. Just speed up the process and join me, you know? So
Right. This is
and
where
you
the power couple comes in.
yeah,
Can
and
you
you need
keep
to
up?
focus on yourself. Yeah, you keep up. You do, because you build, you inspire each other, you motivate each other, you know, you brainstorm together, you give ideas to one another, you give support, and then you allow them to go do their thing, and then they come back and you give them more and they give you more, and you go separate ways and you do more, you know. But you need to allow that flow to happen naturally, and you need to trust that they will keep on coming back, right? That they're not going to go anywhere. You're
Yeah.
together, you're working together. So that's where that trust comes, you know. We're here to add value to each other's life and to build something together.
Yes.
And I need
That's
to
the
trust
upward
that process.
spiral. The upward
Yeah,
spiral is two beings syncing up their carousels, right? Their vibration, whatever's going on in their life. And, you know, the shit test, so to speak, is like, can they keep up when I'm at my best and at my worst?
yeah,
Spinning really fast or slowing down? And are they going to just jump off when it changes? Or am I able to hold on tight? I trust myself. I've been doing the work. They're there. They're still there. They're still there. Okay. They're trusting themselves. They're doing the work. Now we can really
together.
stabilize and start that upward spiral that I think everyone is craving on some level, or everyone knows is possible. And
Yeah,
they're wondering why the partner is not doing it with them, or they're wondering why they're attracting people they can't trust. It's like, worry about your carousel first.
exactly. Yeah. But you know what? I wrote something really, really beautiful a while back, and I was saying that love is easy. Love is supposed to be easy, right? True love is supposed to be easy in the way that it flows. So it takes a queen to build her own castle and worry about building her own castle, while a king builds his own castle and works on himself, and love builds the bridge between the two castles and forms a kingdom.
Mm,
But at the end of the
love
day,
that.
the queen and the king still need to work on their castles individually to form a kingdom. But the love is always going to be the bridge between what you build individually, right? So
Yes.
the only instance where love is not easy is when you drop and you stop building your own castle to go help your partner help, you know, build theirs,
Right,
or
right.
you allow them to destroy what you already built so you can
Yeah,
leave your project behind and just focus on his, right? That's
right.
when love is not easy, when it's holding you back, when it doesn't allow you to develop your own individuality. So you need to trust. He's building his own castle, I'm building mine. Love is the bridge that connects the two of them. We'll have a kingdom together, mine and
Yes,
his.
yes. His and hers, the bridge is communication too. The bridge is
Yeah,
excellent, strong communication and trust, which can only be built by the work on your castle. You're not going to go to her castle and somehow be like, "Hey, can I borrow some stones?" And I need some. There's so many ways. Which this metaphor is amazing, but it's like if you can trust
yeah,
yourself
but
enough to work on your castle, and you can trust her to work on hers, and then when you're really potent and in your best selves, the bridge will get built on its own
yeah,
through the runoff, right? The overflow, the abundance of
yeah,
the kingdom and the queendom coming
absolutely.
together.
Absolutely. But it's part of that. It's just understanding that how can you not trust your partner? If you're in a relationship for the right reasons, then you only have to trust, you know. But it comes from what you want to get out of a relationship, you know. If you want to keep on developing yourself, inspire one another, you know, motivate one another to be the best versions of yourself, to work to the fullest potential of your soul and your spirit, you know, to brainstorm together, to build something together, right? So if that's your intention, then you need to trust that you're being presented with the right partner in your life, and you can trust them as much as you can trust yourself. That's what I always say. I trust people as much as I trust myself. That's it.
Right, right.
So measure your own self-trust, and you'll know how much you can trust the other person. It's very simple, right? That's your measuring
Super
cup.
simple. So simple.
There's your measuring cup. And let me see how much
Wow.
self-trust I have today, so I can see how I can trust other people as well. If I'm not feeling very confident, um, then I might have a tendency to not trust others as well. So let me
Right.
just fill my own cup first, so I can go into the world and attract the right things and attract the right people, and so I'm able to trust them. And it all
Yes.
comes from trusting yourself,
Mm.
trusting your inner being, trusting those 3 seconds of inner voice where logic hasn't butt in yet to give
Right,
its
right.
opinion.
Yes.
We haven't been paying a lot of attention to the comments, but I think they are in line with what we're talking. Their own foundation to build his. Yeah, there is a lot, not just women, there's a lot of men as well. And that's when you see that relationships start to be stagnant. There's no personal individual evolution, but the relationship itself also doesn't go anywhere, you know. And you look at people and you think like, it's like they're trapped in time, you know. They're like still in 2010, and you see them doing the same things, going to the same places, meeting up with the same people, going to the same places as for holidays, and you know, it's stagnant. It's just in that, because you don't trigger personal growth with one
Right.
another. You know, you don't challenge each other enough to be the best version of yourself. So yeah, that was an interesting topic for today.
Wow. Yeah. So many layers here. We got to some
We
interesting
could continue.
places.
This is like one of those magic tricks. You know, we could just keep on pulling it out of the hat. But it's beautiful to see the masculine perspective on it. And I think the most important thing that we discuss here today, even though it wasn't very well, it is connected with trust, is really to have the masculine perspective on how you guys. I need my time. I need my independence. I'm
Huge,
building.
huge.
I'm building my, you know.
Oh yeah.
And women should take that time to work on themselves as well. You know,
Yes.
okay, well, while he's doing his thing, I also have time to build myself up, to work on
Exactly.
myself, to pamper
I
myself, to feel
trust
more.
myself to work on myself while he works on himself. You know,
Yeah,
you want a king that's building his kingdom. You want a king that's like dedicated to his mission, but he wants a queen that's dedicated to hers.
there you go. Yeah, absolutely. It all comes down to, again, you don't want someone who loves you more than they love themselves.
Right.
That's it. You want to see someone who has self-love, self-respect, self-care, right? And then all of that transpires into the relationship, but not the other way around. Not the other way
Right.
around. If you put too much focus on the relationship, then you're going to kind of stop taking care of yourself. If you don't have
Right.
enough alone time to work on yourself, to work on your castle.
Bingo.
I love that
Bingo.
analogy. I really
It's
do.
great. It's so
Because
good.
to me, that's how I see it. You know, I see a woman building a beautiful castle, completely different from the guy's castle. You know, it's going to be like a bachelor kind of thing. But you both work on your individual castles, and then it all comes together with the bridge in between, and it's a kingdom. You know, it's a kingdom. So don't demolish what you have built just for the sake of being in a relationship. Keep on building your own castle. Allow your partner
Yes.
to build theirs in their own time. Allow them to have their alone time, a time with friends. Just trust that you can trust them. You know, just allow that to unfold without bringing your own fears, your own baggage, your own experience with that you had with other people into a new relationship, right? It's not fair that they need to
Yes.
pay for the lessons that you didn't learn.
Bingo. Bingo.
Yeah,
Fill up your own cup, trust yourself. If you're ever in doubt, those are the foundations. Into my mind, it literally is that simple. However, as we know, Anna, sometimes the simplest things can be the hardest to execute because
yeah,
there's a lot of talk, a lot of information, a lot of thinking that can happen. This is not thinking. This is very core level. Build your castle, fill up your cup, stand in sovereignty, then you can play this game of I'm going to be able to trust a woman as much as I trust myself, and vice versa.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bottom
And
line.
understanding that this woman in my life, she's a reflection of me. She's a
Right.
reflection of me. Everyone that I have in my life is somehow a reflection of an aspect that exists within me. So my partner is going to be my mirror. It's going to be my
Right.
reflection, right? Same dose of insecurity, same dose of self-empowerment. So who am I? What am I bringing? And who are they? Right?
Yes.
Yeah, this was a powerful one.
Good one. Good one. Another one.
Yeah. There was a lot of things here. This is definitely one that I want to go back and listen to it again. Absolutely, because there was some pearls here that are going to be that I'll be writing about for some people, because it's I so love your perspective on things. I really do, because you give it raw, you know, you don't go around the bush for 10 minutes, you just give it, you know, guys do this, and we do it without judgment, you know, and we don't
Right.
want to make it a general thing of, you know, female versus male or anything like that, but it is a very general feeling, you know, that separates us. So more than anything, this work that we do together is really to bridge the gap between genders, right?
Yes.
To make understand that we all feel the same, maybe in different ways, but we all feel the same. We all have our own fears and insecurities. So it's just working as a team, trusting each other, and working towards building yourselves, you know, not just
Yeah.
the relationship.
This is the future. Men and women working together, fully activated, fully sovereign, king, queen, divine union. We don't have to play it's their fault, it's patriarchy. We don't have to play women betrayed me, we have to dominate them. The old stories don't live anymore. And if you try to
Yeah.
act them out, you're going to get a wake-up call one way or another. So you might as well learn to trust yourself and learn that this is a game we're part of. And yeah, there's some raw like biological facts that we have to own, and there's the higher, whatever you want to call it, the intuitive knowledge that's always available.
Yeah.
We're combining both.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Well, I'm going to leave it at that. I don't even know what time it is. We always lose track of time together.
Vortex.
But was really, really was amazing to connect with you again, as always. I always love listening to your perspective. It really triggers a lot of things in me, and but I'm sure I have a lot of stuff to write down. I have a lot of stuff to write down, because it's just a lot of insights coming to me as I listen to you. So I am sure that
Yeah.
this will trigger a lot of epiphanies for a lot of women out there, for sure, because this was a
Yeah.
very clear conversation um, about trust issues from our side, you know, or silly female side, and what you guys go through on the other side as well, wanting your own independence and your sovereignty, and claiming it in the best way possible.
Yeah, I appreciate you as a hostess, as a facilitator, communicator. You are a very deep thinker and feeler, and it shows. And it's always an honor to co-create with you.
Perfect. Perfect. We'll see what we bring in the future. Huh?
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff bubbling underneath, so we'll come out with something. We'll make it public. We'll make it public, finally. Okay, Kevin, thank you so much again.
Thank you.
As always, I'm just going to ask you to leave just a quick note on where people can find you, how can they work with you. Obviously, you can leave a link for your pages, as always, just for new people who don't know Kevin, which is, you know,
Totally.
come on, people. If you don't know Kevin,
Thank you, Anna. I mean, the easiest way is Facebook. I'm tagged here. Check out. I have a Facebook live show, Re-Evolution. That's also becoming a podcast. So that's exciting. That's going to be launching later this month. Anna, you're definitely invited. I got to have you on the show, and we got to go into a different container, one of my containers. I've so enjoyed this. And yeah, what I'll say is, you know, I'll leave a link to some of my pages. I'm on YouTube, I'm on Instagram, and I have a website. It's divinemasculine.live. It's going to be changing soon, but any women or men and couples. I have containers for all three. And, you know, the union, the relating, the communication, the agreements, even the sacred sexuality, it's been my pathway, and it's been so, so good to learn in that way. I'm a student, but anyone who's seeking that, you know, you can reach out to me, apply through my website. I'd be more than happy to speak with you and see if we're a good fit. And I know, Anna, you're on Patreon, which is something I'm not. And I want to cross plug you. This woman, if it's not obvious, if you're new to her page, like I said, deep thinker and a deep feeler. I can only imagine your blog and your writing. So I would encourage anyone also to become a patron of the Bloom from Within, because I know you're doing amazing, amazing work. And I'm happy to be here as a part of it.
Part of the tribe. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, you guys, you can find me on my Patreon page. I keep it exclusive there just because the more I concentrate the energy of my tribe, I don't want to call it my tribe and include other people, but the more I gather my tribe, the more focused my channel is.
Right.
They're very specifically to people who really resonate with me. And I have a service of weekly and bi-weekly channeled messages, and they're personalized. So I record an audio for each and every one of my patrons with channeled messages from their inner being, you know, giving them focus, giving them direction, giving them answers, giving them clarity. So these are just personalized just for that specific person, and it comes out every week or every 2 weeks, depending on how they choose the services. But I'm exclusively working there, and I have my blog as well. So that's where you can find me. I don't spend a lot of time on Facebook, kind of like run away from social media a little bit. But you can find me on my blog, and you can find me on my Patreon page. And I have also opened a service lately of TLC calls to help people out there, and they are based on donations. I'm not charging a full session. I want to give guidance and assistance to everyone, regardless of the size of their pocket, because I find that people who cannot afford a session sometimes are the ones that really, really need support. So for a period of time, until I can hold it sane, I have that service as well. So I'm providing a quick TLC call to give guidance and love against a donation. So if you guys feel interested,
Beautiful.
You can go on my Facebook page and look for the information. Okay. So I'm going to leave it at that. Kevin, it was lovely, lovely, lovely to connect with you again. I always
so good.
There's such a beautiful chemistry. It's such a beautiful dynamic. I really, really enjoy talking with you. And thank you for helping all of us get a male perspective on these things, because it's really important. I know it helped a lot of the people that were watching, and later on, the ones who are going to watch the replay, it's going to help them for sure.
It's an honor, Anna. Seriously.
We'll connect soon. The best is yet to come.
Yeah, totally. I'm gonna have to have you on the show for sure. I will be talking offline.
I'm all in with bells on, literally. Okay. Okay, you guys, I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna set you free as a bird so you can go and have an amazing day wherever you are. And as always, we're sending you a lot of love and a lot of blessings. And I am really praying that you stay safe and protected within the power of your own heart. Big love to all of you.
Ciao,
Big love to you, Kevin. Talk to you soon.
Ciao,
Bye,
Anna.
everybody. Ciao.